and get to know each other. I told the kids this morning that they're the experts, the playground experts, but I like to tell the committee that you guys are the champions. And I really mean that, because you guys are the ones that are working with all the volunteers and really the ones that pull this project together and will be the ones that make it happen. There's a couple of stories that I like to tell just to kind of start off the meeting, because each project, and the reason I do this is because of the connection that I get to make with people. And through these volunteer processes and these projects, I see an extreme growth in different communities, and it's just such a wonderful thing for us, and that's why we do it. But one of the stories that really stands out is I was kind of making some notes as I was thinking about your group this morning. There was a project that I did many years ago, not very many, maybe 10 years ago in Alabama. And let me paint the picture for you, because it was literally railroad tracks that ran through the center of town. And there was one group of community members that lived on this side, and then the other group that lived on this side. And the community was defined by those railroad tracks. Well, the playground that they wanted to build, they wanted to use this project as a way to erase the railroad tracks and bring the community together. So the playground was built on one side of the railroad tracks, but the party was on, that we're going to have at 6:30 similar, was on the other side. And we interviewed the kids loved it, they had so much energy, it was so incredible. And when people came to the party, the general coordinator turned to me and said, "This has never happened before." She had a tear in her eye, and she said, "I've never seen this before." She said, "People have come to events like this, but this side of the railroad tracks is on this side of the room, and this side stayed on the other side." She said, "This is the first time," I'm getting goosebumps as I'm telling you this, but this is the first time that the community came to an event and mixed throughout the entire room. And she said this project was something that really pulled our community together. There was a project in Tennessee that I remember. It was a rebuild of a playground that they had built 30 years ago, but they had built, or they had buried a time capsule. And so there was he was a parent now, but when he was a kid, he gave the ideas for the first playground. He heard about the new playground was going to be rebuilt, and he called, and one of the general coordinators said, yeah, he called and he said, when are they bringing up that time capsule? And he lived in Germany, and he was going to fly all the way back from Germany to be a part of that, to kind of see the time capsule. And so, to fly all the way back from Germany, that process had a really big impact on him as a kid, who is now a parent. But one of my favorite stories was in Frisco, Colorado, where I remember the general coordinator said, this is a rebuild project, and she said, yeah, half of the community is totally against the project, and the other half understands we need to rebuild this playground, and it's not safe anymore. But they're so tied to it because they loved it, and they were the ones that designed it, but their kids are playing on it. And she said, good luck. And so I was like, oh, great. What's going to happen here, And so I went in and I told them, do you remember when you were a kid and the designer came into your classroom and asked you what you wanted on your playground? And do you remember all the years you got to play on that playground? And then do you remember when you had kids and you're bringing your kids to play on the playground? And I said, now's your chance to offer your kids what you were given. And then immediately it was like, oh, yes. Because what better gift to give to your kids? It's something that you can't pay for, right? It's just a feeling, a sensation that, hey, I'm somebody. Designer came to me from New York and asked me about my ideas and told me that I'm an expert and I'm don't know how many teachers or administrators are in here, but even if you're not, you probably know this quote, and I wish I knew it better, but it's something like, it only takes one moment for an adult to interact with a child where they really believe in themselves. And it's just like one time. And we'll never know the impact, but we hope, we can give them all the opportunities we can. So I'm so excited to see what your story is. And when you're out there and you're answering questions to the community and you're thinking about who can get involved, like really think of who they are and who the right person would be to approach them, and think of what their skills are and how they can help. Because this project is really a process of inclusion regardless of your skill set. So anyone can help and be a part of it. And I'm so excited to get to know you all personally. So I'll stop telling stories, but I want to say that the main focus of this meeting is to get to know all of you, to kind of just tell you about the timeline, and to give you some next steps on what to do next so you can hit the ground running. My hope is so you'll have some answers to some of the questions that you might get tonight and down the road. But would you mind just kind of introducing yourselves and maybe saying what committee you're on, or if you're not on a committee, if there's a space that you'd like to help out with, that would be great too. Did you want to start?
So, I'm Cheryl Hobson, and I think I signed up to help the fundraiser
Yes.
committee.
Great.
Yep.
She's on it, not leading it.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you, Cheryl. I'm glad
Yeah.
you're here.
Debbie Hart, and helping with the volunteers.
And these two ladies are also on our park board.
Oh,
Yep.
Great. Well, thank you for being here. Awesome. And do you want to introduce
I'm with the camera.
the camera guy?
He's with the camera, but he's also the spouse of our mayor-elect. But he also he comes in and does a lot of filming so that people can see what's going on.
Oh,
Yep.
great. So are you doing the PR stuff too?
No.
Well, he's doing this.
I just
yeah.
do it. We just do it on our own. We just do
Okay.
live streaming of city
Okay.
meetings, and
Okay.
yeah.
Great. Well,
Yep.
thank you. Awesome. And then, do you want to go?
Oh, I'm Karen, and I am not on a committee yet. But she will be, but I will be.
Yep.
I feel like she said volunteer.
That's
The,
what I said.
the woman
Yeah.
of many talents. You can do anything.
That
I've experienced.
would not be
I
true.
experienced it today. I got to work with Karen with the kids today, and
It was
we had a
great.
really
It
good
was
morning
a
together,
fun
so.
time. We had a blast, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
I'm Cassie, and I am the co-head coordinator,
And we're also on the park board.
and also on the park board.
I'm Conley, also on the park board, and I think I'm helping with the PR.
PR, awesome.
Conley is a great photographer.
Oh.
Did you bring your camera?
Did you want me to bring it tonight?
Yeah. I feel like we got that.
You're right.
I think Karen got some photos of.
I took a lot of
you
photos
with the
today,
kids,
so-
yeah,
Yep.
we can share with you some of the.
Yeah.
Did you get any of the kids' faces? They were like, I don't know if you can put those on.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah, we
yes,
checked
I
with the
did check
school,
already.
and I checked with every teacher too.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Their faces were so amazing to see. Okay, sorry.
No.
My name is Alexander, on the park board, not on a committee.
Great, thanks, Alexander.
I'm Connor Hampton. I'm Lydia's husband, and I just had to ask her what committee I was on. But tools and materials. So
Awesome.
Connor's our resident handyman, just generally a jack of all trades here in Kechi anyway. So
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. We have the perfect guy for the job.
This is our future test user,
I was
his name is
gonna
Drew.
Oh,
Perfect.
yes.
He's on the-
Very
he's on
easy.
the-
We need testers
For
for
sure.
sure.
he would really like a new park, so he didn't sit on his iPad.
And he's the
Yeah.
one that rides his bike around the whole.
He
The
wanted
whole
to make sure that the sidewalk was not gonna go away, right?
prepared.
Yes.
Very,
Yes.
that would be true.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
going away.
It'd be great if it wasn't flooded. Yeah. I am Lydia Hampton. I am leading the PR committee.
Great, thank you.
So Lydia made our Friends of the Kechi Park Facebook page, and she's been posting stuff there to start with. So.
Everybody follow. Thank you.
Yay.
And did you do the signs that are around town also? Did you guys do the signs?
Cassie made the signs.
Yeah, those
Good
are
job.
awesome.
If you guys pick those up.
I love seeing
We'll
those.
just update them, just pick them up.
I knew they were gonna go missing. Hi, I'm Neva. I am whatever she said.
Head coordinator.
That thing. And I'm also on the park board.
She's our park board chairperson.
Great, thank you.
I'm Sarah. How baby. And I am willing to go wherever.
Oh, wonderful. I always like those people that say that.
Gets me in trouble sometimes.
I know it does.
Greg, just Alex's dad, so just for him.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
He thought he was gonna go along.
And I'm Matt. I'm the city administrator, and I'm here to make sure the lights are on and the easels are set up and copies are made and
Our
whatever
hero.
else you need from the city.
Our hero. Thank you, Matt. Awesome. Well, so then just to kind of go through, it's nice to meet everybody, and we'll kind of go through the committees. And this part of the meeting isn't my favorite, but it gives you some tools of what will happen next. And there might be some, this is why it's not my favorite, because I could talk to you guys forever, but we do have a party to get to. But there's some things that you guys will maybe talk about that you won't necessarily need me for, and that kind of gets us to the timeline. So I'm here today for Design Day. I'm your designer, and I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Lisa DeShano. I've been with Play by Design from the very beginning. Our main office is actually in Ithaca, New York, but I happen to live in Iowa. I have a 23-year-old son, and I was recently married in May. No, yeah, May. We've been together for 18 years, so it's a little, but it's fun. And I love designing playgrounds. I love my job so much because of people like you. I don't like to go out of the house, but when I get to travel and meet people like you, it's amazing. So I wouldn't be here without you guys, and I'm so excited to be here. Not only do I design playgrounds, but I also teach yoga and kind of different fitness classes to a local retirement community, as well as I live in Iowa City, so the University of Iowa is there, so I also teach the college kids. And I like to ride my bicycle with my girlfriends, and my husband, of course. We like to tour all around the world. And I guess not only will I be your designer, but I'll also be your project manager. So, but I won't be here for your build. Typically when you guys are building, I'm doing a design somewhere else. But I promise you I'll pass you off to, well, our team is very small, so they're all the best. So I know you'll love them, and I know that Cassie's been working with some of the other guys in the office too, which are amazing. So we're a really small firm. We're like a small family, and I wouldn't work any other way. So you might be talking to different people in our office at different times, because each person kind of has their part in each project, but everyone has their strengths. So if it's something that I can't answer, I might give you to maybe Christy can help you with something, or Mary or Lee or somebody. But not only are we here for you for the design and the project management, but also for the build. So 3 to 5 guys will come back from Play by Design and help oversee the volunteers to help them to make sure that the playground gets built according to the safety standards, to the accessibility guidelines, as well as the plans that we'll come up with. Not only are we there for design, project management, build, but we're there for the entire life of your project. So our maintenance department is there. Let's say you say, we need to get a new slide, or hey, we need to replace the safety surface. We're there. You can call us anytime if you have any questions at all. And I think you'll get to know us over this process. And sorry about that. And you might just want to call us to say hi. Thank you. That happens sometimes. So just know that we're here for you for any reason. Most of the project and the emails and the correspondence will go through Cassie and Neva as the general coordinators. But if you have any questions or anything specific and you want to contact me directly, absolutely, just please copy them on emails as well. There is something that, I don't know if you've seen it or not, or I believe maybe I sent it to you, the Dropbox folder.
Yes. Yes.
Has everybody had a chance to get invited or
I know I
check
sent it
at
out
all?
to the people that were heading up committees. I haven't sent it out to the park board as a whole.
Okay, yeah. So in it has a step-by-step guide of really great because it'll have like, as a volunteer coordinator, there's examples of like how to set up the spreadsheet. There's different examples and then different things to do next. So you can use it as a guideline, but you can always call me and ask me questions too. But a lot of the information will be in there as well as in the Dropbox. So each committee head has their own folder, and then in it it has samples or just information about that too. So once you choose to be a coordinator lead, then you'll get the link to the Dropbox, and that's where we'll hopefully stay organized and share information back and forth. And again, if you have any questions, you can ask me. So in terms of for the general coordinator, it really kind of going through you guys and just making sure that each committee is doing their next steps and going, and then having any questions and just making sure that they're going. Do you guys have any questions or anything about that?
I don't think so.
You guys are going to be great.
I just
You
emailed the
already are.
Dropbox to everybody, all the park board people, so you guys can all
Okay.
can have access to it.
Okay, great, yeah, thank you. And then the next one is the volunteers coordinator, and I think Debbie, that was you.
She's
She's
not
on it.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
you're
just
on it. I'm not
On.
leading it.
Oh, you're not leading it, okay.
We do not
We don't
currently
have one yet.
a coordinator
Okay.
for that.
So the volunteer coordinator is, and I don't like to play favorites, but I'll probably say everyone's my favorite. But the volunteer coordinator, really, truly, like you can't build a playground without volunteers, right? And so it's as I kind of was saying in the opening, is this process is a process of inclusion regardless of skill set. But that being said, we're going to ask you for a specific number of volunteers. And your playground is going to be built in 6 days, starting June 8th. And so to be able to build a playground in 6 days, we need the specific number of volunteers that we asked for. And everything needs to line up very, very precisely. So in terms of volunteers, we're going to ask for a certain number. And I'm just going to make up a number right now, but it'll be determined on your final design. So let's just say that Play by Design asked for 60 volunteers. What does that really mean? Well, 60 volunteers means 60 people over the age of 21. And that 21 or over. And so it doesn't mean that people younger can't help, but they just don't count as those specific numbers.
Is that total throughout that week, or is that per shift, or?
Yes, that's a perfect question. So each day will have 3 shifts, and each shift is about 4 hours. So when you have volunteers that sign up, they can sign up for as little as 4 hours for one shift, but ask them to sign up for at least 1 day. And here's the secret. If you ask them to sign up for 1 day, try to have them sign up on the 8th or the 9th. Because if they come early in the week, then they still have time to keep coming back, and they will come back. Because if, let's say, Sally and Rob are working on the treehouse, I mean, they're not going to want Alex and Randy to finish it.
Well, not Alex.
So they're gonna come back. So.
Are you not good with tools, Alexander?
Sorry, I should have picked names. I just those just came to my mind. So that's kind of the secret, is get them to sign up first. But the most difficult volunteer to find, but the most rewarding, is the construction crew supervisors. So we're going to ask for probably 10 of those from you guys. And what that means is, and I'll explain this at the party too, but so 3 to 5 guys from Play by Design are going to come to oversee the volunteers, but you'll have 10 crew leaders that will be required to be there for every single shift for every single day. So one crew leader might be in charge of doing the framing. One crew leader might be in charge of assembling the manufactured equipment over here. One crew leader might be in charge of safety surface. One crew leader might be in charge of tacking down the deck boards. So each crew leader then has their own group of volunteers. So having that continuity of those crew leaders working with the Play by Design guys is going to help the flow of the build go a little bit easier each day. So that's the biggest ask, but it's one of the more rewarding volunteers of the entire project. So I think if you think about it as a committee, kind of think of people who you think would be a good fit for that role. But a lot of people say, oh, all the retired people in town, let's ask them. But which could work because they don't have to take time off work. But you want to just make sure that they're able to stand on their feet for 12 to 14 hours a day for 6 days in a row, and that are good delegators. And so then that kind of gets us to the volunteers and the crew leaders. What does that mean? So not all of the volunteers have to be skilled builders or contractors or things like that. So we are asking for half of your volunteers to be skilled and the other half to be unskilled. And our cut and dry definition of skilled versus unskilled is you feel comfortable cutting a straight line with a circular saw. The most important thing at the playground build is safety for us. So we don't want to go up to somebody and ask them to do something that they're not comfortable with. So every volunteer will have a name tag, and I'm making up these colors. The red will mean skilled, so if I come up to you and you're wearing a red name tag, I'll be able to ask you to do something that would be appropriate. And then the blue would be unskilled. and people like, they get, and I love this because that's just easy, cut and dry, right? Skilled or unskilled. But some people may have a lot of fun with this, and they say skilled, and then they say skilled in other ways. Or like
Other blue skilled?
fun. So we're not here to offend anybody. It's safety. But anyway, so and same thing with the crew leaders too. Is half of them, 5 should be skilled and 5 should be unskilled. But good delegators who are able to stand on their feet for that amount of time, the entire build. I keep looking at you because the volunteers. I'm hoping the same thing. But I think today what'll happen is we'll kind of gauge the interest of the community, and my hope is that people will sign up to help volunteer. And the kids, I mean, you remember, the kids volunteered police officers, they volunteered their moms and their dads, they volunteered their teachers, they volunteered their
Older
grandparents.
siblings.
So they're already pretty much signed up. So maybe hopefully they'll sign up. So once you get all the people who show up to the party tonight and sign up, they can check at the box of what they're interested in, because there's certainly more interest. So some people might not want to volunteer to help build the playground, but maybe they'll want to help with fundraising, or maybe they'll want to help taking care of kids during the child care, or maybe they'll want to be in the tools trailer and hand tools to people that are out there building. Maybe they'll want to work with the food and then help set up the food and make sure that the volunteers are fed too. So certainly options of volunteers. So they can, when they sign up, food helper or volunteer builder, and then skilled or unskilled, and then you can go in that way too. So the next steps for the volunteers would be setting up a database, and maybe you have that started already. So all the people that sign up today, whoever, or if you're helping with the volunteers and you wanted to start the database, and then whoever takes over can help too. Or maybe that's the part that you want to do. You just don't want to be in charge. That's okay too. But the thing about the volunteer committee, and I keep talking so much, and this is the one I'll spend the most time is because it's so important, but everyone in this room knows different people. So I like to say that it's not just one person on the volunteer committee, or there's not one volunteer head, but everyone should be on the volunteer committee, because I mean, if I came over to you and I said, hey, do you want to help me with this one thing? And you'd be like, who are you? And I don't know, I'm kind of busy that day. But if your best friend came over and said, hey, do you want to help build a playground? I would be like, in a heartbeat, I would say yes. So having the right person ask and get them to sign up is another one of the secrets that's really helpful. So especially for the crew leaders too. And one of the ways to kind of start the volunteer outline, besides today filling in the names and the numbers of the people that come today, but thinking of the different groups in town, local businesses, And the lucky thing for you guys is today we were talking to the kids, and there were kids that live here in Kechi, kids that live
Park City
in Park City
and Valley Center.
and Valley Center, and was there one other one?
Bel Air, is that?
So your volunteer base.
You might have
is-
some Wichita kids mixed in there too. Maybe, yeah. There
See-
were only a handful.
Yeah, so your volunteer base is pretty big, and then I don't know if any of you have ever been to the Augusta playground, which is a really cool one, but, and I think you've been in touch with,
Yes.
Christine.
Yeah, I've been in touch with Christy Williams. who
Yeah,
helps.
she's amazing, and I bet that she would share her volunteer database with you. And I bet there's people that would come over from Augusta to help build yours also, because there's people that literally travel across the country to go on these playground builds. So getting their database and using them as a resource for all of the different committees is really helpful too. I mean, I could tell you how to do something, you know, but I've never been through the process as a committee head. So hearing it from somebody who has might add a little insight to it too. You know, sometimes people say don't always tell you all the bad things, or sometimes they do, but you know what things to watch out for. You know, so kind of using them as a resource, or hey, we found this to be really helpful, or during your conversation, they can help with those things too. Is there any questions about volunteers? Okay, so for you guys, the next step would be getting a volunteer coordinator and having someone set up the volunteer database, someone else reaching out to, and you guys shouldn't be doing all of this. You should have someone do this, reaching out to Christine to get their, and see if she would offer it and just let people know about your build. And then that gets us to fundraising. Cheryl, awesome. Do you want to talk about it first, or do you want me to just?
I don't know a thing about it.
Okay.
We're all kind of in the beginning.
I always
here.
feel like I'm just talking too much, and then I just say everything that you know or that you already want to say anyway. Okay, so thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
So I like to think of fundraising as people raising too. So putting together your fundraising outline, and we can talk about a timeline of when different invoices are due, so then you can line up your fundraisers that way. There's a really fantastic fundraiser, that's my favorite one because it doesn't cost very much to run. Actually, in fact, it doesn't cost anything at all. But what it is, it's a component sponsorship, if that's something that you're interested in. So all of these are pictures of the design components that are in your playground. And you'll see one of the big posters that's out there also. So I put together a component sponsorship. I don't know if you saw there's a component outline that it has a picture of the component, it has a description, and then it has a suggested price on it. And then you can use that as a fundraiser too. So maybe, let's say, one of the local businesses wants to sponsor the treehouse, or maybe the third grade class has a competition and they want to sponsor the monkey bars or things like that. So it has different price ranges that offer different opportunities for different components. So that's one of the hot ones. I don't know if you're planning on doing any grants or anything.
We're
like
definitely
that.
looking at grant opportunities.
Okay. So in the Dropbox, there's a document that has all the really hot grants that are out there right now. So I say look at the ones that you think you would be eligible for. Look at the ones, look at the deadlines, and let us know if there's anything that we can provide you that will help. We don't do the grant writing, but it would be helpful to find someone on your committee that does grant writing. But there's a document in there that has like bloopers or be careful about this. It kind of tells you how to do the grant. So if there's someone that might be interested that isn't a grant writer, that could be a document that could help them
Okay.
as well.
Mhm.
There's other ideas in there too that are helpful. There's a project in Ann Arbor, Michigan that was another rebuild, but the first time they did, they had the whole school bring in their change, and then they took all the change and then they laid the change down on the gymnasium floor, and they lined the entire floor. $15,000.
Wow.
It was amazing. Like, so I think the first time they did it, it was pennies, and then this time they did it it was all changed. So it's amazing how fast it adds up, just the
Mhm.
change from the kids.
They just
So,
leave it on the floor?
well, they took shovels to put it up
Oh,
to the bank.
lay down tarps.
But it was a really cool photograph too, so the PR is kind of fun. So, you know, and you can think of fun things to do too, but when you start to set up your fundraising outline, think of ways that might help raise volunteers. You might not raise as much money, but raising volunteers and awareness can be really helpful too. Fun runs, and there's all those things in there. There's a document that I put together that I can share with you that has some hot grants, and then like you can change it. Like, okay, so if we did or not grants, hot fundraisers. So like if you did like 20% of your budget, you went after grants. This is how much you should earn, or you know, all of those.
Mhm.
And I put some on there that communities have done that are kind of fun, or different
Mhm.
ones. So that's your next step would be just putting your fundraising outline together. What fundraisers do you want to do, and how much do you think you'll earn from those? And then once you have that, hopefully you have enough people that want to participate and help you in fundraising, and then maybe you can pass up, okay, these are the grants we're going after, can you write these? This is, can you do this gymnasium floor fundraiser, you know, and kind of pass out the work that way. So getting started and having a plan will help
Mhm.
you when people are ready to join in.
Wanted to clarify, also, she's on the committee, but she's not the head of that one.
Perfect.
She
So
wants,
Oh, you're not the
No,
head.
it's okay.
No,
But she,
unless she wants to be.
no one has the time to have it.
All right, do you like to put lists together?
I mean,
it's, you know, I'd like to find somebody to do that.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
okay.
Christy also provided the list of all of the grants that they were successful and unsuccessful with tips on how
Okay.
to be more successful than they were for theirs as well. So we have
That would be
too.
good.
we can put that in the
Yes.
doc.
I will after I type it up. Right now it's all handwritten notes. Yeah, I can type it up and put her notes there for that.
Yep.
So.
And we might have a lead and to someone that might,
Yeah, I'm hoping so. We had someone reach out on Facebook who said that they
knew someone.
knew someone that wrote grants and was
Oh.
interested, but I haven't been able to get them
Yeah.
any sort of
Right.
response, unfortunately.
Or could you hand the handwritten notes to somebody on the fundraising team that could type them up and then share them?
Well,
Would that
probably.
be possible? And then
Yeah.
that's one less thing
Mhm.
that you have to do, and you could do.
And someone has to read my notes, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is that possible? Well, if that's.
Either way, we'll get that
Yeah,
sorted
you
out
decide.
though.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, she gave us some really great feedback on stuff, and they gave us some names too for people that they worked with directly on those grants at the companies. So
Okay.
You guys have a head start, and having her will really
Mhm.
help. Awesome. And then that gets us to PR.
Me, yeah, hi.
So you guys have done an awesome job so far, which is great.
Just, it's okay.
Quality.
No.
This is awesome. So PR, I always feel like you guys have a really busy job because you're kind of working with each and every committee. You know, like if you need more volunteers, you know, you guys will put together a piece that says, we're looking for volunteers for Wednesday, you know, or of course, Design Day was a really big event for you guys, so you're really busy with that. These are the tools that we still need, you know, those types of things. So you really work with everybody, and keeping the community updated on all the important pieces is important, I think. I don't have to tell you, you guys know you've already done it already. I think some communities don't have their Facebook page yet or their website. There was a community in Carlisle, Massachusetts, that their website and Facebook page is really good. They actually did the component sponsorship on there, and they just had everything updated. They had videos of like kids talking about what they were excited about. They talked about Design Day. You know, they had parents that gave testimonials, or you know, different things that just keep people excited. And the momentum that we create from today and tonight, it's something that we want to carry on, and it's through the holidays too. You know, and you know, even people want to. A lot of grandparents will get back to fundraising, but you know, just keeping people apprised of what's going on. But even grandparents want to give something to the kids, and maybe they could donate to the kids, you know, or to the playground for the kids. Like, this is a donation or just for the playground, and you could do it that way. But, yeah, is there anything that you guys, you might want the digital design from today, and
Yeah.
I'll put it in the Dropbox.
Okay.
And so then you can have it, cause then you can put together a brochure and any documents or anything that will help, get more volunteers. Another thing that was helpful that Carlisle did, and I think Augusta did this too, is a QR code that you could have that, and I saw you had a QR code on the signs, and then it could take you to the volunteer sign-up page, and then people could sign up right on.
So I added a component to this one, so the QR code in here, you scan it, and you can put your information in for the prize drawing, but then it also says, I'd like to volunteer, and it has a drop down now for them to choose what section they want to volunteer in.
Yeah.
So, and if they want us to retain their information or not.
Okay,
For that.
that's
So that
great.
way, it'll just, I can move it to an Excel sheet, and then we've already got the database started.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, okay. That's all that I have.
So I've got half your job done already as a committee head for volunteering.
She
You shook your head, yes, it's on video.
She just voluntold you.
Just
I'm just kidding.
But let's see, materials.
Yeah, he had to go get our daughter, so
Okay.
you don't have to waste your breath for him, unless you'd like to
Okay.
share with everybody, so.
Yeah,
totally
well,
Well, we can always.
The
That's
material,
alright.
you can, will you tell them?
Of course.
So,
If you want to speak to him later.
we're gonna create a whole list of materials for your playground, and you guys will be responsible for, the local materials. The rest of the stuff you'll purchase through the office. So the local materials, so if there's like a local lumberyard or hardware store that, their donation could be, maybe they'll give you those pieces at cost, or maybe they'll just donate it as their part. Maybe it can't be out there during the build, but that can be their piece. So, just kind of going through and figuring out what the prices of those things would be, and then that will establish your budget. And then, when the time is right, knowing what the lead times are, he'll place the order for those, and then they'll be delivered to the site.
Okay.
We talked about going to Home Depot because they have and Lowe's. They have like lending tool programs. Be like, would you just lend these to us for free?
Yes.
And for the cost for the 6 days or whatever, and then
Yes.
we can put you on our thing.
Yeah.
You can have a picket.
That's perfect.
It's not swing worthy, but it's picket worthy. I was kidding. Me too.
And that, yeah,
Right
that
on the
kind
date.
of, then tools is next, right? So they're even like, rental companies, and sometimes like you can ask like DeWalt and Makita too, they sometimes rent or let you borrow tools, and in some cases I've heard that they end up just giving you the tool too afterwards, so. But some things you can reach out to volunteers for in terms of tools, and people will bring things, and then, just letting them know that the tool will be returned in as good as or better shape than when they received it. A lot of times what'll happen is you bring a tool to borrow for the build, and maybe it doesn't have a blade in it, but you get it back and it has a brand new blade in it, let's say. So it really is amazing. The biggest part of the tools person is identifying tools volunteers who can organize the tools trailer. There's gonna be like a big, like semi-truck trailer full of tools, and then each tool is gonna be organized specifically into like its own shelf, and we'll give you a diagram of how it's supposed to look. But identifying volunteers who will be able to be in that tools trailer during the build, and they don't have to be there the whole time, it can be different people. But the people who would be good volunteers for that would be people who can maybe like change blades, or maybe like make small tools repairs. So those would be good volunteers for that area. The first 10 tools on our tools list, and the tools list is in the step-by-step guide. It's also in the tools folder of the Dropbox. The first 10 tools are the most difficult to find, so that's the next step, is to kind of identify when those would be. One of the tools on the list is like a bobcat. One of the tools is like a big crane that we use to
Just
pick up the roof and put those.
She's got a box set.
Oh,
They actually drove it today.
Oh, good. You
We've got the scoop, the forks, and the,
Dang.
Trencher.
My driveway needs to be redone. When I come by, I just need to re-gravel.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, I know where you can get some gravel.
Perfect, see? I don't want pea gravel.
Don't be specific, it's free.
That's true.
Everybody
look down
needs
the
to come
street.
with a 5-gallon bucket empty and leave with it full of gravel.
What did you were gonna call it? You had a name for it.
There is a good friend of ours, she works for, does everybody know Lego? You guys all know
Yeah.
Lego.
Oh, yeah.
And she works for Lego, and she was telling us that for Christmas they give you a big garbage bag full of just odd-shaped Legos. And she said, like, around town, this made me think of it, there's just Legos like leaves, you know, like it's all around here, there's just Legos like over there, just all over the city. It reminds me of like the pea, it'll be like pea gravel just all over. For
Oh, I thought we could do like a
Christmas,
Lego challenge. You gotta walk across it. You know,
Yeah.
pay $5, walk across. You don't get it, we keep your $5.
That's a
Saying
good
as a parent who
fundraiser.
stepped on them, it will not last.
So, then that gets us to food.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to remember if we had one.
We do not, since it wasn't one we haven't even.
So this is what I like to say, and this is one that you can certainly find someone, but I know you'll find the right person because, and you're gonna think of it as soon as I say this. The food committee is about pampering the volunteers. Like, we all remember going home for Christmas when we were in college and our parents like totally taking care of us, or when our kids come home from college and we get to pamper them, and it's just they're out there working and you just want to make them feel good, offering good food for them. We serve food for lunch and for dinner, and it's only 30 minutes, so it has to be just very spot on. It has to be on time because then the next shift is coming 30 minutes later, and so it has to be on time. So think of somebody who likes to pamper people. Think of someone who is very organized and on time, and then maybe you already have that person in mind and you want to call them, or maybe they'll show up tonight and that. So their short-term goal is to put together a menu for the week. So the food committee's job is not to cook, but they can identify, like, let's say, like, Monday it's going to be the casseroles from the churches. So they'll go to the local churches and ask them to bring casseroles and have those ready. Maybe Tuesday is the local restaurants. Wednesday is maybe the grocery store. And then Thursday could be maybe people within the community want to cook. So they're lining up the food that they will then serve to the volunteers. But when I say it's pampering the volunteers, it's when you think you could do it like pizza every day, but you know, people like to eat a variety of different things. You know, salads, of course, things that are green and different colors, offering a lot of things. In June, it could be really hot, so having like water and hydrating drinks that are available throughout the entire process. So it's not just lunch and dinner, you know, thinking about snacks throughout the day for some people. And maybe for the crew leaders and the PVD guys, maybe in the morning you want to, maybe Panera or somebody, or SK Donuts could offer something for the morning for them, and coffees, things like that.
Have you seen a lot of businesses who donate food for things like that?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I know what we were just
Yeah,
kind of saying.
for
There's
sure. Yeah, definitely, and they're really proud of it. And then they can have their banner up at the bill too, and then you can say, "Oh, wow, this is from this restaurant. I didn't even know it was in town. I should go there more often," or things like that. And then that gets us to childcare, and that's one that we like to say that the childcare coordinator and the childcare group should be somebody who really likes kids.
it's
And
really
I
hard to
really
take them
mean
to.
that sincerely. I know I'm laughing, but it's really true. And then just having people who like kids that are kind of hanging with the kids. So as the volunteers are out building, the kids are in childcare and they're doing different events like face painting, or maybe building with Legos, or maybe they're gluing some of the pea gravel together to make like really cool shapes. I don't know. I just made that up.
Art projects.
the cheerleaders do like Monday, and then they have like the football team do Tuesday.
Oh, cute.
You know, and different people, but it should be appropriate. The number of adults to the number of kids. Sometimes the coordinator could be someone who runs a daycare. It could be a teacher. It could be, you know, anyone who you can think of in the community that really likes kids. And then just, so their short-term goal would be to line up other volunteers who want to, so you can see, like, if somebody doesn't want to be out building, but maybe they're good at hanging out with kids and keeping them excited, they could volunteer that way. So you can see that. So their next term goal, their short-term goal would be to find volunteers that would want to work with them, but then also set up events, or make a list of events that they would want to do. Sometimes the fire truck comes, and then the kids can call over the fire truck. Those kind of fun things. That gets us
You just get the police to do it, right?
The special needs coordinator, mostly their job happens at the very beginning.
Make it
And
easier.
I ran the numbers for accessibility. We design according to all the accessibility guidelines. And so there's this worksheet that we use in your design as of right now passes. So one of my favorite things about accessibility in terms of playgrounds is that with custom design you can do anything. And so, you know, maybe someone in your community, a lot of times people think, oh, accessibility, they think people in wheelchairs, right? Well, it's more than that too, and that is certainly a significant part. Your playground design has different ways to get into the structure, around the structure, and through it at different levels. For people in wheelchairs, people with mobility devices, walkers, canes, people who don't have any of that also. But also people with visual impairments, so different colors, different textures, things for spinning, children with autism, some things like the spin, a lot of rocking, different activity panels to play with, those types of things that we all consider. But not only just on the ground and the outside of the playground. Our hope is that we can integrate children of all abilities to be able to play together. So being able to play side by side. Maybe we have monkey bars that are kind of your normal height monkey bars, and then you have a lower set of monkey bars. So maybe if you're in a wheelchair, you can go and do the lower one, but still reach up and climb the monkey bars with your friend who isn't in a wheelchair. Or even your younger brother who's not in a wheelchair, they can reach the shorter monkey bars, and just kind of give different opportunities of play that way also. So that gets us to the site coordinator. We had a site meeting this morning with your city guys, and they're so awesome. I think that they've got it handled, and you guys have a really awesome community. They had some really good ideas and some good questions. So it sounds like they're going to take care of all the site work.
Yes.
It sounds like they were on board for that. And then the construction crew supervisors, we talked about that. And then that's everything. Did I miss anything?
The
Is there-
arts something coordinator.
What is it?
An art.
Oh, yes, thank you. The artists. So, yes, the artists are what are going to make your playground pop. And one of the things that I was reading about Kechi before I came here is this is a really incredible artistic community. Is that true?
Yeah.
Or did AI make that up? I think it's true.
Is it an illusion?
Did AI embellish?
So like there's so many opportunities in your playground where you can really make it your own. So the colors in the playground that we came up with for the initial design are the colors of your logo.
Right.
Yes. And so you can see those in the design, but then there's also opportunities like we put the logo at the beginning, at the entrance.
It's on like
Between
the
the
bridge.
two tall towers, on the bridge, and it looks really cool. But we can't do that, right? Volunteers will do that. So the artists would do that. They would do maybe the 2x6s, you climb across an incredible mural of something, you know, and then maybe it becomes an eagle's nest or something. So
Cool.
maybe it's a really cool eagle mural or something. So there's an opportunity for artists to really be a part of it. So again, that's kind of, the artists kind of fall within the volunteers, but they can certainly be on their own. Like, you can invite them and say, hey, if you think of someone in mind, like, that would be able to do something like that, have them sign up and have them be a part of it. And then we can talk through some ideas of how they can help during the build and make it come together.
I've already volunteered my wife to do that.
Oh, perfect.
She was an art teacher, so.
Oh, yeah.
So who did you talk to?
We met with,
This morning for the
yeah,
site.
Vern and,
Thomas.
Thomas is out of town.
Oh, okay.
Earl met us down at the park and talked a little bit about the site. And
Oh,
what
okay.
the requirements we'll have when we're there and the
Mhm.
drainage issues.
Yes.
Lisa got to experience our very nicely flooded park this morning. So.
It was good to see because
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
you know, it's-
timing,
you
yeah,
wanna be
perfect
able
timing
to-
to see
yeah.
That's right.
some of the issues.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So, and I went back actually to look at it again this afternoon, and it was still mostly
It will
flooded,
be for a
so,
couple days.
yeah.
If it doesn't.
Yeah.
So did you get down to
So-
see Cargart and some of that down there?
Cargart is right on the corner of
It's the glass.
yeah, our
The
garden.
glass
Oh,
studio.
yeah,
Our
I
street.
walked past. I didn't get to go in.
Oh,
I
yeah.
walked past it. Is it open
Yeah.
tonight? Is it open?
I don't know what
Sorry.
time
I
it
don't know what time they close at.
Probably. I think they close at 5:30.
They're already closed.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then I won't be able to make it inside, but, oh, yeah, it looked really amazing. Are
It
you
is.
affiliated with?
No,
No?
but
Okay.
everybody
Yeah.
just, you know, yeah, you
It's a
gotta.
big draw to our community.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could have made it in there.
Well, you can see a lot of the stuff on the outside. Plus they have like.
Yeah, they have lots of
Yeah.
If you do get a
sculptures and
chance,
such.
just walk by there.
And there were some sculptures on
Yes.
the side too,
Oh, yeah.
right?
At the outside.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it was really well lit
Yes.
last night and this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it gets dark so early.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, so they would be able to, people affiliated with there might be interested in helping also in some way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great. So kind of thinking of those people as well. Anything else? Anything else that I may have missed? Does anybody have any questions or things you're excited about, things you're nervous about?
All the above.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
All of it.
I think my biggest fear is paying for it.
Okay, yeah, and that certainly is a fear that you should be nervous about.
Mm-hmm.
And I always feel like if you're not nervous about it, you don't care enough. So the fact that you're nervous makes me feel good. But let's have answers to those questions, or how do we answer that? So this is the thing that I find the most, because I think that how do you pay for it is the biggest thing that people have a problem with. And what I find, is that people just are just so worried about it. And I do this too. I think it's a human trait. Like, I just get so worried about it, I just push it off, you know. And the moment, this is so amazing. I can almost feel it from across the country, because the moment that someone actually writes down, and it doesn't have to be typed, just you write down the fundraising outline, and you put like, okay, grants, 20%. What would 20% be of our budget? Grants, component sponsorship, local donations, business donations. Is the city contributing any money? Are there the schools? And then you just kind of write down all of those ideas, and then it kind of starts to fill in the blanks. And I can give you something that might help as a starting point,
Mm-hmm.
that might kind of at least make you feel a little bit better, but that you can take and then revise, and then you'll see, oh, okay, it's almost done, like it's almost raised, simply by just putting together the list. So my answer to, I'm worried mostly about if we're gonna raise the money,
Mm-hmm.
is put your list together, let's talk it through, is it realistic?
Mm-hmm.
And then answer that question from there. So you always have to have a starting point. And so let's do that together. start the list, and I'll share what I have too, and you can use that maybe as a guideline, and then maybe that'll make you feel better, or maybe you'll find places where you need to make adjustments, and then we can go from there.
And Cheryl, something too that Cassie and I didn't realize is that they actually, in the estimate they give us of what they would imagine this would cost, the ground material was included in that estimate. Whereas before we had thought the engineered wood fiber stuff that we may or may not be able to use. So that cost of that was already built into that estimate that she gave us before. Whereas we thought that was just for the construction site or the construction part of the park. And we thought that was going to be a huge extra amount. So it's actually already built into that, the numbers that Cassie had sent us to kind of look over at what it could possibly be. Does that make sense?
What kind of
So when we initially were
ground
talking,
is it?
it's the engineered wood fiber is the cost that we have already written into it. We still need to get with Public Works and discuss that. Based on our conversation this morning, I don't think they think that is going to be possible. But again, we need to talk to them and figure out where we're at with that, and then we will. But because that's written in there already, that is some money that is already
Could be put towards the poured.
Yeah,
Yes,
whatever else.
we could
So
be
we go with
using that
something
money
different, but at least
elsewhere.
some of it is already covered in that. So we had thought
Yes.
that was going to be a whole nother expense completely. It actually
Mhm.
isn't. So that's actually a pretty good amount in there too.
There is a project in Deer Lodge, Montana. It was at a hospital, and they had some really nice space to build a playground for their community. And they wrote a grant for the safety surface, and they wanted to do the port in place rubber, but they forgot that they applied for the grant. So they didn't think, did I tell you this?
Yeah, you told me this
They
one.
didn't think they had the money, so they did engineered wood fiber, but it was like 2 or 3 days into the build, they received the award that they had gotten the money for the port in place rubber. So they just went for it and they did it. So it happens. I mean, that you can certainly, maybe it's something that you try for and you get it. There was another story that I really like. I don't know if I told you this one. It was in Warwick, New York, where there was a local person in town with super deep pockets. He was watching the progress of this playground and he loved the PR. It was like he was watching it kind of from afar, and he's like, but no one knew he was doing this. And then the bill got closer and everyone was getting nervous about the fundraising. Are we going to raise the rest of the funds? And I was literally talking to her on the phone, and she's like, I gotta go, I just got a call from, and I can't remember his name, maybe Steve. Steve called me, he wants to meet me. He's the one with really deep pockets. I'll call you back. So he called her and he said, I've been following the progress of your project, and I really love what it is bringing to Warwick. And so I want to be a part of it, and I don't want fundraising to be a headache for you guys anymore. So if you come down to my office, bring your numbers, and whatever you need to finish off the fundraising, I'll write you a check.
Oh my gosh.
What was his name?
Yeah.
Do you have his number, please?
There was another project, this in Carlisle. It was design day, and this was a rebuild. So he was around the first time, and he was talking to me, and he's like, I was the one that was there. I had my pull behind smoker, and I smoked all this food for all the volunteers. That was probably one of the best times of my life. And he's like, there are all like hundreds of people here building this playground. And he was just beaming about the experience that he had. And he handed me a piece of paper that was folded up, and he said, I want to just start this project off right. It was a check for $30,000.
Nice.
It was amazing. So there's people out there that will want to be a part of it, and your job as the committee is to be inclusive, to inspire people, and to really make this project what you want it to be for your community. And it is something that can change your life. It is something that you can win awards. It can sometimes be times that will make you cry. On all of the above, I think we'll go through all of the emotions. But my hope is that it's your story is something that leaves a huge impact on your life and the life of your community for years to come, even when you're gone. So it's such a sincere pleasure to meet every single one of you, and I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. And I know we're gonna have a lot of fun, and there's gonna be some hoops to jump through too, but we'll get there. And enjoy the party tonight. And when people are when I'm doing the presentation, take a moment to look into the crowd and look into their eyes and see their faces, because it is something that is really special. And do that during the build also. If you're going to be so busy working and running and putting out fires and just doing all these things during the build, but every day take a second to just stop and look at the impact that you're making on people's faces, and it's something that you're gifting to yourself, but also the community. And really receive that gift, please, because you deserve it. So, yay.
Sounds good to me.
Yes.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions for Lisa? Burning concerns? Anything else for me? Okay, don't forget, I did email you the Dropbox if you're in the park board, so you should be able to look at that if you want to look through anything ahead of time. Thank you, Blaine.
Uh-huh.